Recently gazetted election campaign financing regulations that capped presidential election campaign expenditure at 5.2 billion shillings might not come into effect during next year's general election after all. According to the law, the gazetted regulations will now be sent to Parliament for a further 14-day scrutiny. But a section of MPs have vowed to shoot down the proposals by all means. IEBC was expected to avail to Parliament the regulations this afternoon, as Duncan now reports.
When they were gazetted last week, the election campaign financing regulations sent political shockwaves far and wide, triggering yet another round of condemnation against the electoral body. However, the regulations are not cast in stone. Parliament will still have the final word.
The regulations first will be gazetted by the respective institution, and then a copy is sent to Parliament. Then Parliament will have a certain period in which to consider those gazetted regulations.
As it emerges that IEBC might have disregarded the National Assembly's Committee on Delegated Legislation when it first presented the proposals.
They came before us, and I'm in the Committee of Delegated Legislation in Mombasa. And we engaged these people for 2 days. And we pointed several issues which needed more thinking, more reflections, and so on. And so we would have expected this regulating making authority to come back to us so that we would tie up the loose ends. To see that they were then published was a shock for me.
The regulations seek to ban foreign funding and has limited funding of a political party to 15 billion shillings, and non-Kenyans will only be allowed to provide technical assistance.
There are people who just want to contest so that they make money. They are not in the ballot box to win elections. Every elections, they collect and they enrich themselves. They collect close to 500 to 1 billion by collecting money from candidates through nomination, by talking to donors. So we want to know who is contributing to the campaign of Honorable Raila Odinga, to the Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta.
I know, of course, it is the duty of IEBC to make regulations around financing. But whatever it is, we need to realize that we are Kenyans. We are in the context of being Kenyans. We will not be Americans. We will not be Europeans any day. Whatever the Constitution says, whichever power.
The funding caps have elicited both fury and shock in some political quarters, with the opposition chief Raila Odinga terming the move as a plot to ensure that only moneyed elite take part in elections.
Those figures are out of the window. They are not completely in tandem with the Kenyan realities.
ABC has clearly said, please still.
Those are jokers. Those are guys who should even go for an MCA. Those guys should go for a member of parliament. You cannot tell me you want to win the presidency of the Republic of Kenya and go sell your party manifesto, your party ideology, talk to elders, talk to youth, talk to women, entice them, convince them to vote for you, and you want to go there with no penny. How do you reach the 47 counties?
Once ratified by Parliament, all candidates will be required to open a campaign financing account and details submitted to IEBC. The Gazetted Act is supposed to supervise candidates, political parties, and even referendum committees in relation to campaign financing. But even before the regulations come back to Parliament for scrutiny, it seems battle lines are already drawn for and against. Duncan, KTN News, Nairobi.